GM fam, today is Friday, January 12th, 2024, and Domini. It's the first day of the rest of all of our lives, and we sincerely hope that when you return on Monday, whatever you're building today will be Monday's lead story. For today, though, we are thrilled to announce the return of the Llama Party. So I'm guest hosting with a person who maybe doesn't need any introduction if you're familiar with the Curve ecosystem. Martin Krung has been hired on as Curve's first developer who's not a straight up software developer. Martin is a business developer at Curve. So Curve had managed to somehow become a multi-billion-dollar protocol despite no meetings, no Kanban boards, no dev sprints, no product managers. Martin, you were just able to kind of step in and seamlessly merge into the culture. So we've got a ton of questions. I know you've been in crypto since 2011. So maybe you could talk a bit about just the beginning of your crypto journey, and then like, are you like, if you've been in crypto since 2011, I feel like you're either incredibly wealthy or incredibly stupid. So which of the two are you?
I'm a mid case, I guess. Yeah, I would say. Yeah, so maybe I think I start with Kerf and then I go backwards maybe a little bit. So I was very early a Kerf liquidity provider. So it's not that I just joined Kerf like 3 months ago or so. I'm much more like a Kerf guy, like since the start, because I had like cash on chain and I put in different protocols just to try them out basically. And it was like liquidity providing Kerf, and so I got the airdrop and I follow Kerf like since the start basically. So I'm I think I'm a Kerf guy really. So deep down, and I had contact with Mitch over the last 3 years, sparsely, just by Telegram, and then it's a fun story somehow. I've been in the pool, ETH Kerf pool was been hacked, and then he was looking for somebody who's maybe in Switzerland to try to make some legal action basically, and I was the only one in Switzerland, looks like. And so we got into contact, and I told him, I'm looking for a job anyway, and then here I am basically. So my task is for Kerf. There are like two parts. One is like I like standing for Mike, who he has a lot of requests from outside, and I help him with this. And then the other thing is that I'm just do general biz dev if you can do this with for DAO, but this means I mostly help protocols and talk to protocols who build on Kerf basically. Yeah, that's the Kerf part. But I'm like, I started in 2011, and then somehow it's a long time. I bought my like Bitcoin first in 2011, and then I got into the crowd sale of Ethereum, and the rest is like. And the thing is, I'm very interested in innovation basically. So my main drive has been curiosity. How comes new stuff into life? I'm a trained artist at the start. I made an education in art as a media artist, and there I learned to code because we tried to make art with code basically. So I was like in the first wave of the web internet cycle basically. I was studying during the 2001 or 2000 crash basically. So this is like my first experience with the internet. Who was like it's a similar, sometimes crypto have the feelings like it's like an echo bubble somehow. And so I was curious. I'm very curious on new stuff. And if you look at art, it's very strange which artist is successful and which one not basically. And they're not like hard rules. And I think for innovation in general, it's the same. So it's so this is so, and because I'm like a coder, it was always the question. So some people are able to write new software with like defining a whole epoch. So for me, it's like the WordPress guy, it just, it was like, I don't know if he even was a coder. He just made WordPress basically. And then, it got very big. So he defined like a whole epoch with this software basically. And then I was sucked in by Bitcoin because as I did read the white papers, it was like, okay, this is really something new. And this was like, and then I was like in the first, what's interesting, I was like reflecting what I'm talking here about. So what's interesting is that if you see the concepts you now are built with EVM chains, basically, they also have been around before EVM existed, because many projects, they just took like Bitcoin and they forked it and they built stuff on Bitcoin, or they tried to be on Bitcoin clones. They tried to build stuff on Bitcoin clones, basically shops and what, like everything who is now an EVM chain almost have been done in this period, and it's like a very long time. But then I got into EVM, or I did see Ethereum crowd sale, and I read the paper and I was like, okay, this is like, the next step. So, and then I tried just every protocol that was out there on Ethereum since the start, basically. And also with DeFi, because I think DeFi is like this is like a theory for myself. If you look, for me, crypto is like a medium. I would say it's not like an only technology. It's like a medium who has like a first manifestation. The first manifestation of this medium is basically, that if you see that, for me, it finished the digitalization somehow. You can say that the code, because it melts code and value transfer in one, basically. And before it was like just, they're like independent streams, and there still are independent streams, basically. If you see how traditional like payment works, it's like they don't exchange money anymore, signed paper anymore, like for 100 years, but they just sign the message stuff between different APIs, and it's like a trust. They trust each other that if a message comes, it is somehow true, and then they act on this. But it's not that the value transaction in the normal like banking system, how I imagine. I don't know a lot of cryptography stuff at the end, but it's not. It's like a simulation of paper, basically, still. And crypto somehow finished this digitalization because it makes it possible to melt code with value transfer, if it is stablecoin or whatever it is, basically. So, of course, the first manifestation is like like transaction of value of this medium. And if you see that this also, like, for me, I think at the end, Ethereum is just a big exchange. That's the main thing, and this also makes sense to be part of Kerf, basically, for me, because this is like the first manifestation for, and that's what we see. The more thing who's really used and has users and have found product market fit. At the end, it's just about token who are like sold and put into contract, and then things happens. So that was maybe a lot.
I did want to ask, so like as an artist, this is a little bit off topic, but are you interested, or have you like followed the like generative art scene that has come out on top of Ethereum? And also
no, the thing is, this was like of the main issue. My generation, I tried to make code or art with code. It's not generative art where you make like generate picture and then you sell it as NFT. So there was like a generation in these years was like, okay, now we do art with the internet, basically. So we tried to make like some software art, and this is also how I get into coding, basically. But then the thing is, there's no capitalization. Software art is like you can't conserve it because software needs like an operating system, and this degrades, basically. So in very short notice, it degrades. So at this time, I even did think about, if you think about what makes art or artists successful, and then you see that part of art is always like some kind of investment thinking. Even if most artists, there's like no secondary market. That's what we see with NFT. Most normal artists don't have secondary market. So, but even then, people buy their pictures or whatever it is to have something of value who is like not degrading, basically. So there was of my generation who did the study the same thing as I did. One of them or two of them are still artists, around 60 people. The rest, everyone went into IT or web, basically, like myself. So as the NFT craze was coming out, I did see CryptoPunks was like, okay, even before NFT existence, I was, okay, this is, nice. It costs $300 at this point. I didn't buy it. It was complicated. I didn't have time. I was like, okay, maybe it gets cheaper, how it is. Then I didn't have one. But I had a Unisoc, so two of them at some point.
So, can I recap?
Sorry, two, yeah.
Oh yeah, no worries. So let me just recap briefly the track record here. So you joined Kerf as business developer 3 months ago, and in that time, we've seen PayPal directly incentivizing Kerf. We've seen a Bitcoin ETF get approved. How much of this stuff is you behind the scenes pulling the strings? Like,
it's not myself basically, but because I think this is a general strategy Kerf has. We are like a very deep tech driven. Deep tech may be wrong word, but we are a very engineering driven organization basically. And the thing is, we are not intent. So, and also as a DAO, we can't scale on yourselves. We can't scale on yourself. So we have to scale our partners basically. And most of these, with PayPal, most of this stuff just did happening on other with partners basically who manage bribes. And I did see that StakeDAO has like some bribes coming over StakeDAO, although from Paladin, and I think others are involved. But this has not. I didn't see anything of this happening. Basically, it's just they just did it somebody, and it's also somehow it's also the idea. You can open a pool without asking us, and you can bribe without us, and
Now, let's get to the title then.
Somehow, I agree that somehow it's a shift, and of course, this is the long-term intention of Kerf, basically.
This is a great time to bring up the title, which you'd suggested, which is the controversial statement that you think bribing is stupid.
I was not my title. You made that title out of it. It was just one sentence.
It's too good. It's clickbait, right?
Yeah.
Tell us, why is bribing stupid? Why is PayPal stupid?
However you look at Kerf, at the end it's about on-chain liquidity. If it's Kerf or Uniswap, it's about on-chain liquidity. So projects need a place to have on-chain liquidity, basically, and there's different choices you can choose of. But Kerf has just the best tech for stable swaps, I guess. That's the thing. It's also like people think, and I really think if you look at the innovation, the space, the design space of AMMs. There are limits, you can't make it much better. Maybe you can make it a little bit more efficient right now, but then it's not another 10x or anything. It's just a little bit. So Kerf has a good place with stable swaps, and I think it's one of our main product. And you see, there's real need for stable swaps.
We had Millie on a couple of days ago, and we had a discussion with him about Uniswap's upcoming Uniswap 4 release, plus the addition of Uniswap X as well too. And I think his view or beliefs was that it's going to essentially make Kerf outdated, or you won't need it anymore. I know you watched the episode.
I did.
So maybe you can
somehow on if you look at this is how we say, if a product or a company has product market fit, and we clearly have, it's not going to disappear into nothing. If you look at companies who are some time around on chain or just on normal companies, who are able to enter a phase where they're grow and they're big and they have product market fit, most of them have to make serious mistakes to lose market share or anything, or it needs a new competitor who is really make another 10x. And I'm not really I didn't read a lot of Uniswap v3 hooks, but they can't reinvent the wheel basically. Mostly it's The main problem is if you look at StableSwap, then it's just StableSwap. You swap one stablecoin to another, or you have like stable pair like ETH pairs or whatever. But for unstable pairs, you just have impermanent loss, and either with hooks or without hooks, it's the same. You can't change that. And of course, you can like if I imagine how this the hook system works, so I guess it will be just more flexible in a way, but the underlying technology will be the same. So why should it like a deal breaker or revolution new? I don't think so, basically.
By the way, Martin, and what's up, folks?
Hi.
How are you? Would you say that, like, how would you describe, I think with Kerf, it's not even about just market share. I think it's like, at least from the outside, it seems like a huge moat. You know, I mean, like, Kerf is so much ahead that it seems like it dominates a specific market that, what, how, and who exactly can replace it. So, maybe you can share a bit about your perspective on how do you see like the very centric and integral role maybe that Kerf currently already has within the space.
Yeah, I think, as I said, you know, we try to work with other protocols who build on us, basically. I think also my task, I do like, you can say maybe business to business, because that's how we grow. And if you look also at the bribing space, to coming back to the bribing topic, and there are different ways and different players in this market who build on top of Kerf, basically, or vCurve, however you name it. And it's a form of competition. And for us as Kerf, it's like a very good situation, because these different players, they compete on the same market. And for the end customers, basically, who uses these protocols, they have a choice. You know, they can either go StakeDAO or Connex, Votelog Connex, or Votium or Paladin. They can choose between these players, basically. And that's for us like an ideal solution, because we don't have to manage these kind of products. They do it for us, basically, because they built on us. And if you look at Uniswap, these kind of things, what I know, they exist somehow, you know. They exist. They're like different protocols who shift like liquidity for you, and you can provide them liquidity, and they do it for you, basically. But it's not like out of one, it's not built into the structure. And if you look how bribing works, or how you can incentivize liquidity with Kerf, then you can do the same with Uniswap, and you will never can do it, basically. You always have to use your own token, then you can, but otherwise, or you build on top, but it's not built into the product. And I guess this is the strength of Kerf, that we have a lot of people who build stuff on us, basically.
Yeah, I think that episode with Millie, which everyone should watch, it was a great episode. And wish I could have been there too to like join the conversation. I think Sam brought up some really good points in that episode, which is that all these different technologies like feel different when you use them, right? Like Uniswap is very good at some things, Kerf is very good at other things, and they kind of, each technology has its pros and its cons. And I think you see the business use cases kind of evolve to fit into each of these pros and cons. So often with crypto, I don't think it's about like this protocol is going to kill that protocol, but I think everyone's going to kind of find their natural niche. And I think one thing that wasn't touched on much in that call is that like some of the Kerf innovations have really found like interesting niches. Like in my opinion, like Kerf's V1 stable swap formula is just outstanding for stablecoin trading. We've seen it also like doing very well with like ETH LSD pairs as a result. I think Kerf V2 pools have like a lot of natural advantages in terms of being able to concentrate liquidity and showing incredible resilience in those times of like gas fees spiking to 600. Oftentimes you'll see Kerf pools are the only pools that are trading. And it's also like been interesting to see Kerf V2 pools get tweaked to kind of just like be very good at printing fees for VECRV holders. The Kerf Try Crypto pool is now the second most profitable pool by revenue, with the Steth pool being first. And then obviously then there's the entire like subset of CurveUSD innovation, which is you stepped right into kind of like this like brand new paradigm. What's your thoughts on like CurveUSD and the ecosystem, and like which of Curve's businesses have the most opportunities for growth? How you see like trying to develop for each of them?
Also yesterday, that's what he missed in a way. He even didn't know how CurveUSD works. So this is a part I think he should do more research, because basically,
in fairness, Kerf is incredibly complex. I can't even understand it, and I study it 24/7.
Okay, but it's just if you say a Kerf is Uniswap V3 will be will kill Kerf, but he doesn't understand the new product. And
I think he was mostly referring to the AMM though.
But I totally agree. Yeah, of course. But the thing is that we are much more than an AMM now, and this is because of CurveUSD, of course. Because
definitely,
if you look at CurveUSD, I think it's some kind of blood for Kerf. And the term liquidity, it's not just like it has like some metaphoric. It's a metaphoric naming also, because liquidity and money flow, it's really some kind of liquid who moves between different places in a way. And so I think CurveUSD is like our own like stablecoin basically, and the goal is that we have like a lot of pairs who are like CurveUSD / whatever stablecoin pairs, and so we have like our own stablecoin and blood in a way. And the thing is also, if you look at the earnings right now, I don't know, but I guess we make more money on trading, and we make more money on CurveUSD, and the reward is higher than trading fees. And what this means is, if CurveUSD is growing, the trading is not our main income anymore somehow. So, and this opens a possibility to either lower the fees, for trading. Of course, then it depends. If you think in this direction, also the liquidity provider will get a lot less fee. But in a way, we would be free to just set every CurveUSD pool to 0 fees, basically. I don't know if it makes sense technically, but in a way, we could just say, we do this, and then it gets more efficient to trade over these pools who have CurveUSD in it than the others, basically. It's just a thing we are thinking about. It's not like official or anything. It's just we just talk about these kind of things. But in a way, if you see that if there's 10 billion, 1 billion TVL in CurveUSD, we will maybe make 10% of the fees 90% of the fees will come from CurveUSD. So this opens a huge new possibility for Kerf basically to change. And also, if you look like innovation or like design, I think the beauty of having product market fit somehow is that you can that's like a main criticism on crypto basically. And Kerf does it too a little bit, the emission Kerf token, that's true. But somehow, if you don't find product market fit and you pay your users all the time, then it's very hard to get a signal about your products, because then people use your product because they get paid. And Kerf has product market fit. And if you have product market fit, it's much more easy to find out what's the demand from like real user in a way, which use your protocol not only to get paid, but because they use it because they have like a benefit from it basically. And it's not, of course, we also pay for liquidity with Kerf token. And I think it's an interesting thing in a way that you can say nobody knows if it works long term, but it works. It works. It works now, and it worked the last few years basically, and it works for other protocols. So even if you think it has flaws, and maybe this is Millie's point or has been Millie's point, you're subsidizing a lot of your liquidity and your protocol. It just works. Even maybe it's not very logical. It shouldn't work because we pay for liquidity more than we earn on fees, but the fact is it works. So that's just
Well, let's
Product
dive in. Yeah.
Sorry.
Product
Don't
market
do too much.
So let's go ahead and dive into what some of the death spiral will say about what might not work. So we have this new CurveUSD, which in theory, Curve was on a death spiral, of course, then it launched CurveUSD, and now everything's great, except what if CurveUSD doesn't work? Yeah, we saw CurveUSD launch and pretty quickly get to about 100 million in its total supply. It even spiked up to like 150 million. But then since then, it's kind of stalled out. Rates hit double digits. We've seen that was an effort to basically encourage people to to get the coin back to peg. But every time the TVL shoots up, it starts to depeg. The rates also tend to spike and it drops again. Now it's back below 100 million. So how does CurveUSD get to $1 billion TVL when kind of these incentives keep kicking in to prevent it from growing and encourage people to repay their loans?
Yeah, that's a difficult question, basically, because if you look at stablecoins, I did a little, the project I made before was about making a stablecoin, it was like some kind of liquidity floor, and I did think a lot of how can you get adoption for stablecoins, or what the stage in stablecoins. And for myself, there are like 3 stages. One is it's a medium of speculation, basically. So you buy it, and interesting is in a cash society, in a cash-based society, this there's no mean of speculation of cash except like holding it and maybe investing, but then it's not cash anymore. But for stablecoin, there's like something I like to say, to name mean of speculation. You buy a stablecoin and you put in a protocol and you get paid for it, and you make money of it. And as long as you get like tokens, you are there. And then if you don't get any tokens more, you just sell it, the stablecoin, you're out. I think one of the examples, like Meme had like a huge success in the last cycle. I don't know what they are currently doing, but at some point it was clear people just holding the stablecoin to farm the token, basically. And then if the casino stops, the project is like losing TVL and that's it. So there's like the speculation phase. And then there's like mean of exchange. Every part of money is like a mean of exchange. And I think what we do now is try to build the best mean of exchange stablecoin, because that's what we can influence, and we do it. We put it in every pool we can, or we pay with every stablecoin. So it's like it's a mean of exchange, and the idea is this: a mean of exchange means you have something and you can just exchange to something others, and all the other stablecoin are value, and this adds like value to your own token or currency, basically. This is why the US dollar is so successful at the end, because it's the main mean of exchange, so everyone wants to have it. So, but then you come to the store of value part, and the store of value part is like, for me, it's quite voodoo somehow. There's at some point people start to keep your currency to store value, just to keep it somewhere in a wallet, and this one, I don't know how you can't force the store of value part. I think if you are a stellar mean of exchange, then you automatically at some point you will just transition to a store of value part. So I guess we try to solve the mean of exchange part as best as we can, and then somehow we hope, my guess is that then the store of value part will just come to existence by itself, basically. Yeah.
Cool. So earlier on screen, Katis had the comment in the YouTube comments. By the way, please ask comments on YouTube. This is a llama party, so if you got questions, please drop them in the comments, and we'll ask them of Martin. Katis is basically saying that the path to $1 billion is through Conic Finance, which is relaunching very soon. Is like that your impression too, that it's going to be integration with other protocols? And if so, like what are you seeing Curve able to do to facilitate that?
You're talking about which product?
In this case, Conic Finance and their OmniPools.
Conic. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, but the thing is, Yeah, they've been floating around ideas, but it's like really stage concept. So I don't think I will talk too much in this direction, basically. But somehow it's the question, it goes into the direction that you say, like, DAI, they make like S-DAI, and you get like, you get revenue on top on your stablecoin. And we think about this direction too. And I guess this is one of the, maybe this is a way to get CurveUSD adoption up, basically. Some kind of, a base yield on CurveUSD, basically. But we don't know how we do it. It's just, we just floating out ideas, basically. And and what we for sure will do, we will just change the fee, or we are working on this, like change the fee to CurveUSD, basically. The fee we're collecting on all the pools, change to CurveUSD, because now it's $3 pool. So that's another thing we are working on.
So I did want to ask about Curve's expansion into L2s, because for all the success that has been there on Ethereum, Curve is kind of like lagged behind in deployment on L2s and gathering TVL there. Looking at DeFi, we can see that there's $1.7 billion worth of TVL on Ethereum, and then the next largest pools on Arbitrum have like 50 million. So there's a clear difference between, almost like 90% of all the TVL is on ETH. What is Curve's like approach towards growing on L2s, and are we going to see some bigger growth coming into 2024 on these other L2s?
So one reason we are this much main net focused is because like our customers are there, basically. If you look at ETH derivatives and stablecoins, most of the TVL is still on Ethereum, basically. And the other thing is just that Kerf as a contributors number of Kerf is not so high, so we have limits in shipping stuff at the end. But the goal is that we are present on like every L2 who makes sense, or EVM chain which makes sense, basically. And we are working on this. So, but there's like we're working on get CurveUSD on all this change. We are present because we need it somehow. Because it's if we take it serious with the blood, then we also need like CurveUSD pool on L2s, basically on every L2s we are present. That's one answer. The other thing is that we are working on. It's a complicated, it looks like just an AMM, but in the background there's much more technology who's like complicated, and it's not easy to change, because this was like you have to make audits on all the change, and if you integrate stuff, you have to make audits if the integration works, and so it's not so. And Kerf is relatively old, Now, if you start fresh, you have a much more established patterns where you can use for these kind of things. And so we are pretty conservative sometimes in changing stuff, and we have to. And if you also look at the cross, you can also have gorges on L2s, and you can vote for them. And this kind is also some kind of coordination who has to be happening between the EVM chains. And these also like things we work on. So it's like, it's the thing we do this year. The next, it is like the focus. Maybe is another focus on this. And we also, I know that we also work on a lending market, and it's not like a secret somehow. And the main thing is we will never mint CurveUSD on other EVM chains than mainnet, basically. So we can't. Others do it, other stablecoin do it, but we will just, the emission of CurveUSD will be on mainnet. So we need another possibility to get CurveUSD into the use case for CurveUSD. And this is a lending market. So then you don't mint CurveUSD, you just lend CurveUSD on the L2 you're using, basically. Yeah.
So when it comes to projects like, this year we've had the launch of Prisma, which has deeply integrated with Kerf and also Convex as well too. Additionally, FFX protocol. Is Kerf working with those projects before they launch to get them all set up? So that from day one, they're part of the ecosystem?
Also this has been a little bit before my time, so it's not, I don't have knowledge basically. But it's an open system, you don't have in fact, you don't have to ask us to build on top of us. But of course, we help them, and it's also that they are they're friendly, how you say, they're part of the Kerf ecosystem. They make us stronger, so we are very interested to help them, and there's communication with these teams. I can't say a lot about this because I just see the last 3 or 4 months, and then most of their teams, they are very tech driven too, and for them it's not maybe you can say it's easy to just read the code and write stuff on top of it basically. So it's not that it's a different, this is also what I see, what a little bit changes for Kerf itself. There's 2 target group, and one is other protocols, and they only need little help most of the time because they are tech driven themselves. They just read the code, and if they have question, you answer them, and they go, and then they just put it out what they did basically. But there's another group of, and this is more the I would say people using Kerf as a on-chain liquidity, and there is other. There's I see a little bit development that it goes it's more institutional, and it's not. I didn't have contact with pay USD guys, but I had contacts over the last 3 months with other projects, and I see there's a little bit of this. They have a mindset with how you say, not so on-chain anymore, I would say, because they have teams who are not big, but they have to solve the on-chain liquidity somehow, and these kind of users, they need more help than other protocols building on top, basically. Yeah.
So we had a good question from Kmetz, who was previously a guest in a Llama Party, asking how will the revenue for CurveUSD get impacted if rates go back down to earth?
Which rate? You mean the CurveUSD rate?
Yeah, so I think periodically we kind of see this phenomenon. Going back historically, we saw the phenomenon where in the AMM business, Kerf would always be on Twitter bragging every time prices were nuking because Kerf was printing trading fees. And now it's the new phenomenon is every time rates spike to 50, 80, a million %, Kerf is yeah, but look how much money we're making off of the people who still their positions open. But what happens if rates do eventually kind of find an equilibrium at closer to market rate, let's say 5-10%, and would that have a negative impact on the CurveUSD revenue to the point that it kind of isn't worth bragging about?
I think what's not well understand about CurveUSD is the fact, and I did only understand this as Michael did a presentation on Unstable in Amsterdam, and he talked about this, and it came clear to me once again. And the thing is, if the supply shrinks, the fee goes up. So in a way, it's anti-cyclic itself. Of course, we don't want to have CurveUSD shrinking, but if CurveUSD is shrinking, then the rate is going up and we earn more money, basically. So if CurveUSD is, and the reason is why is simple, because you have to reduce supply. If this shrinking means you have a little underpack, and so you have to reduce the supply, basically. Yeah, it's the right direction. You have to reduce supply.
Usually when it's shrinking, it means that people are repaying their loans, which means that there is CurveUSD coming off the market, so it repays upwards,
CurveUSD is coming out of the market, so the supply shrinks. But then rates go up to press the supply, to shrink the market, basically. Because then you're incentivized to buy CurveUSD on the market and pay your debts because the rate is going up. So if it shrinks, the rate is going up, and if it grows, the rate is going down, basically. So this is, I think CurveUSD is relatively fresh, so we didn't see how it really works over like a cycle or several cycle. But if you imagine now we're like a little bit in a shrinking phase, so the rate's going up, we earn money on this as a protocol. And then if it goes up again, if there's more demand after CurveUSD, the rate will go down, and then we make less money. But somehow this is totally okay. And then if it goes the other direction, it will also be around. So it's somehow, it's a strange, not strange, it's like, it's not, it's like, the funny thing is that we make more money when it shrinks than when it grows. So, or the Kerf as a protocol. That's just, and I don't know why the rate is so. I don't know why the rate is so high. So people are just willing to pay it because it's a market rate. It's not the rate. It's a market rate. People pay this currently for CurveUSD. However, they are motivated, basically.
Martin, I want to follow up actually on the previous question by Sam about projects integrating with you guys. The way you see it, at least, like what kind of, because, so many projects are actually being built on top of Kerf. The ecosystem is looking so robust with new participants coming up, it seems like on a monthly basis or something like that. But for you, as someone from the inside, especially in your role, what kind of new ventures within the Kerf ecosystem are you hoping for or looking for in 2024? Because I know that probably there are some directions that you guys would have preferred that builders would have taken, or that so far have not really been, put a lot of effort in. What are the kind of directions that you are hoping to see new protocols rise up and build on top of Kerf?
Yeah, but this is more like a personal take. I think just what's missing for Kerf, it's like a way to, I have to talk the other way around. So bootstrapping liquidity is very expensive, basically. It's really expensive. And this is also maybe then a loop back to why bribing is stupid. It's expensive. Liquidity is expensive, basically, and you need money for this. So there are different ways. And for new projects who enter the market into getting a pool or needing a pool, it's like it's an issue, basically. And I say this because I worked for this stablecoin project before, and there we were thinking, okay, we need 1 million liquidity in one pool. It's our goal. And then we have been thinking, okay, 1 million TVL in a pool, how much Kerf we need to buy or to have to bribe for this and to reach 10% API. And the value is around 40,000 to 50,000 K, basically. So need half a million of Kerf token to bribe for a pool of 1 million TVL, 10% API a year, basically. So I think that's what I think it's missing somehow, is a way to bootstrap liquidity for projects who are not established or don't have a token. And the way I see is that maybe there's a way, and they have other ideas, old ideas. Maybe there's a way you can people can vote for your pools, and then you get a right for the token, which is then generated later, basically. So some kind of bootstrapping mechanism for new projects. This is one of the things I'm personally thinking, because that's something who can be done on Kerf. And the first issue you have to solve as a new project, you need a revenue a place where your token is traded, or your project token is not. I don't talk about project token. Your token of your stablecoin protocol you're building, or your ETH, whatever it is running. And so it could be a bootstrap mechanism too, the Gorge system, basically. This is one of the areas who, I'm thinking personally more. The other things I don't see much because most things is just happening. This is the beauty about to be an established protocol, because we have just generated some kind of network effect, and people just use it how they think they want to build on top of Kerf. So it's not that it's not us that we make like concepts and say, maybe this is missing. Most of the projects they propose things to us, and maybe they ask, and we give feedback if it's like feasible, but that's it.
So we got a question from Talon McRae, Power, I guess, Leviathan, Power Squid, in the comments asking if Kerf is going to be applying for grants to cover audits. And I think we could kind of loop that into like just a larger question about like, obviously like CurveUSD had 3 audits, and like Kerf takes security very carefully, and still due to like the Viper bug had to deal with the issue. Like, can we just like talk about security in general, how Kerf covers audits, things like that?
The thing is, that's not well known, but there's like an organization in the background, and it's like, and it got also like part of the Kerf airdrop, and until now, audits are paid by this organization or entity, and so that's how we operated the last like this bootstrapping phase, basically. And that's I don't know if this is an answer, basically, but I did look at numbers. So we spent around like between 0.5% of the TVL for audits a year. So it's like it's substantial things we do in this direction.
I did want to ask about and this is more of like a personal opinion for you, is about the future potential for Euro stablecoins on Kerf.
Euro stablecoins.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, I think the FX market has always been like one of the targets market of Kerf, but it hasn't been validated because, I myself, there was like, I don't know if it still exists, but there was like a product, and maybe it still works. You could like exchange synthetics euro to synthetics Kerf over some kind of it was like a double stage process on Kerf, and then it took a moment, so you could go over you could exchange S euros to S USD, and also S Swiss franc, because I'm in Swiss based in Switzerland. But all these products, they didn't find traction, basically. So, but this has been like a year ago or so, and FX market is for sure like it's very suitable for Kerf, basically. But I think the market is just not. It's not. This market is not. How to say? This market is not on chain yet. I guess that's the answer, basically, because I think institutions who do FX exchange, they won't do it on mainnet or Ethereum mainnet, because they don't want to be this transparent. I guess this is the only answer I see in this direction. And of course, Kerf, if you think we could make a Euro Kerf, I don't know how much demand there is, honestly, because until now, there's I don't know the numbers, but there's not a lot of demand for euros, basically. So, and also I think Ethereum is too expensive, for this kind of FX, because what I did see, this was like a interesting insight in Istanbul. Most of the USDT trading is on Tron, basically, and the main reason is I live in a low Switzerland is very stable, and Swiss franc is also very stable. So we have very low inflation. But in a high inflation environment like Turkey, what people do, the local currency lost like the store value part completely. So it's only store of exchange, mean of exchange. So what they do is like they always go back and forth. So if they hold like Lirka, Turkish lira, they just sell it to USD basically, and they go. One guy said it's like the central bazaar in Istanbul. People go there and they exchange. I think it works in exchange like their bills. They put their bills on the table and then they get USDT on Tron for this. So, and this is everything happening on Tron. It's because it's $100 or so. So this is like the retail market of FX. And I guess the retail market of FX is on-chain part of it, but it can't happening on mainnet because it's too expensive. That's the short and long answer.
Maybe you can give some unqualified opinions on USDT on Tron. We've seen it actually reach new heights just recently. USDT on Tron is hitting like all-time supply, and it's widely used there. And maybe this is something that like ETH or even some of the L2s have kind of lacked on, where the primary demand for like you retail stablecoins is on Tron. And maybe it's because of Tron's relationship to Binance at the time. Maybe it's because of the cheaper fees that they were able to offer. But how do you bring that demand back into like ETH and the L2s that we have, and specifically into Curve?
Yeah, Tron is nobody likes Tron somehow. It's like Justin Sun. I don't know if he's like, but he survived, until now. So somehow he made a lot of things right, and he has success with Tron, as you say, with the USDT. But this is also the thing is, I think this is also like the it's about if you have this problem like living in Turkey, you don't care if it's on Tron or the Ethereum. You just want a solution for your problem, basically.
Yeah.
So,
but if Tron is, I think that if Tron is so much cheaper, then that's why the network effect of it got so big on these places, because Ethereum just wasn't available for them a few years ago. So obviously they would have chosen Tron.
But if you say bring back, Sam, if you say bring back so to EVM, so you say that Tron is not a valid venue for these kind of things. And I also don't think it's like a good Tron is like value aligned or anything, but they have success. So maybe, we should try to embrace it and maybe just to be. I think I don't know many projects who are really deploying Tron, but somehow we should maybe turn it around and try to be present too there. Not Kerf maybe too, but I mean the broader DeFi system, because the thing is how safe it is, at the end. And
I think that it actually relates to something similar that you've mentioned earlier about Kerf, because I think it really is about the network effect. On certain places on certain regions in the world, including here in Israel, by the way, if you actually want to do like in real life stuff and like convince in real life people that you can like actually give them money and get paid for in a normal way, it's usually USDT. And I think that mostly it's not because of like the specific advantages of USDT. It's because of the like network it has created, and it's just the most trusted one. So it's easiest for people to trust it, and you can't nudge them that quickly. You really have to convince them for a long period of time that they have like very specific and coherent reasons to actually use different stablecoin. And obviously, if something happens with USDT, this story changes completely. But at least for now, I can tell you that vast majority of people that I've interacted with here, like usually other tokens were not even an option. Just they want USDT, and they don't actually mind usually if you pay them on Tron or Ethereum.
Yes.
I know actually I kind of prefer, but I actually wanted to if we can go right ahead into a whole other topic that I wanted to ask you about. I wanted to ask you about Kerf grants actually, and it relates to the question that I've asked before about new projects who are being built. Like, because I do know that Kerf has like a big grant program in a
Yes.
way, and it's very. I'm very curious on how who's it actually intended for? How do people actually approach? Is it only for teams? Is it only for builders? How does a young builder who actually want to do something that he feels that is going to benefit the Kerf ecosystem, but he doesn't actually have the means to do anything with it other than his talent? Is there even something that
I'm not involved in this part, so I can't say much. Basically, I just think that it's not defined what it doesn't. There's no definition what it funds and what not. But it should be. What I did see, what they did fund is mostly things built on Kerf, basically. So it's relatively open. But somehow, I'm not involved there, so it's not. I can't say much about this. It's an open system. You can just contact them and ask and get feedback. But others did first. They did but I did see that other project they did ask Kerf contributors or people close to Kerf what they think about their ideas, and then there was circulating ideas before with other some form of consulting. And I think this makes sense because the expectation that you just write like a big fancy proposal for grants and then it's a hit and everyone gives you money. I don't think it works like this. You need to get trust basically, and you get trust by talking to people, I guess.
Definitely, good point.
So you will. I just want to go back to the bribe thing. Sorry, as you said, why I think bribing is not the good way to use your Kerf. It's. Do you have more time, or are you close at the hour? No.
We always have more time.
Yeah. If you want to go longer,
we always have time.
No, the main reason, what I did see. So this is like the bribing thing. So. Of course, everyone thinks a lot about bribing, how it works, and then me too, somehow. And so, what I think doesn't make sense about bribe is that you pay once and then you get your liquidity for a certain time, or you pay several times over 2 or 3 weeks, or months or years, whatever, however you do it. And it's the same if you bribe or if you put a reward on the pool with your own token, it's the same. You just pay you pay constantly. And for myself, I compare it it's like renting a flat, You rent a flat and you pay, you live in the flat, and that's fine. But it's not, you lose capital during this time. So you lose capital or your token, whatever you pay for. And the beauty is, you lose your capital and you pay then in Kerf token, basically. It's because, the bribe is paid, the reward is in Kerf tokens. But in a way, you don't pay with your own token, but you do, you either pay your own token for the bribes or you do it like yourself. So I think I came to the conclusion, in a way, it's much better if you own voting rights. And the reason is if you buy the different ways to have to own voting rights, you can buy Convex for yourself and bribe your own pools. And the main reason is that if you buy Convex and bribe your own pools, you buy a share of the future emission of Kerf. Because now, I don't know, I have the exact number, I think 68% of the Kerf token is minted. And so most of the Kerf token is already out, basically. And you buy a share of voting rights for future emission, basically. And I did calculate things. So as I said, you buy 500,000 Kerf token right now, and you bribe your own 1 million TVL pool, and you will get 10% API per year. So, and the thing is, this is if you look now, but if the price, because the API of the pool is based on the price of Kerf, if the price of Kerf token is going up, if it gets twice as value as now as the time you have bought it, then you get twice the API. So if it doubles the price, you get like 20%, but you have the same amount of Kerf. You bought it now, you have it like as an investment, you use it for bribing your own pools, but you get the same, you have the same amount right now, but you can, if the price goes double, then you have double the API on your pool, basically. So if you do it so it's also investment. If you do the same and you just bribe over time, in a year you have to bribe the same, you pay the same price, you pay the same, you have to bribe for double the price to get the same API. So it's just, I think you lose money in this process, basically. So if you're able to, if you have the cash, you should better buy bribing rights, because it scales. What people miss, if you invest now, if the Kerf price is low and you buy like a Kerf bribing token, you own it and you vote for your own pools. If you go in a bull, you need more incentivation for your pools that people deposit their token in it, because will get generalized, you will get more on stablecoins, basically, because rates go up in a bull. So you have to compete, and if you buy now and you can bribe now for 10% API, and if the price doubles of Kerf, you can pay double the price. You either get double the TVL or you pay double the API on the same amount. So it scales over the cycles, basically. So that's the reason why I think, if you are able to buy it, then you should buy it and not bribe. I don't know if it's understandable.
So if there's no more questions about the Curve ecosystem specifically, I'd be interested in hearing kind of your thoughts more broadly on crypto. Obviously, the ETF got approved. We're seeing maybe it's becoming a resurgence of people feeling bullish again. What are you excited about in terms of DeFi or crypto more broadly, or like the entire ecosystem? Like, what's your thoughts on like cryptocurrency in 2024?
What's interesting, it's interesting in regard to last cycle, everything was like fresh, basically. I look at DeFi, it was like, okay, it was like fresh and like untested somehow. And now we see during the bear, some of the protocols have been established themselves. And now we see, we see a lot of usage of these protocols, basically. So I think established protocol will have a lot of success, I guess. That's the thing. And what I also see is that it's not institution, maybe it's the wrong term, but last cycle, I think most of the users have just been basically, just private persons who used it for themselves, basically. And I think there is a shift, now it's much more that like other players who have a more institutional mindset are coming to this market, and they use this product as exact the same way as we did, but now they're like they're more professional, I would say, in a way. So in a way, it's like some kind of normalization, I guess, which will happen. That's the thing I see. And as I don't think there will be a point where it will be a cycle and we will be crazy again like the last one. And I also think it will be maybe more crazy than the last one again. I don't think there's like a theory. People think at some point everything is like established and then the cycle will like disappear. But I don't think that cycles will ever disappear in this for blockchain, basically, and crypto. And the main reason is, if you look, it's like only the single reason is only that crypto allows people to invest like in very early stage project. And this fuels speculation like crazy. And we see it every cycle. So and I think this is like enough to make it cyclic forever. As long as everyone can just say, yeah, I have a new protocol, it's a fork of XY, and it makes it a little bit better. And then they have a token out, and they shield the token. They have a community. Teams sometimes make like a killing of these tokens. Even if it's not like intentional, it's not intentional like scams. They how to say they have good intentions somehow. They just say, yeah, we go innovate something, and then we go make a project, and they make a project. They make money, and they have a huge community. They go out and sell the tokens. And so, yeah, that's the casino who just started again. And at some point, it will just crash again, because all these forks of a fork of a fork, they can't establish themselves. They don't get like customers, and then we just, end the cycle again. That's how I see it. But I think it will be, the next year will be just, I guess, numbers go up. That's just what I see, basically.
It seems like a pretty good place to end it on, like a shot of hopium for all of us to take us into the weekend. So Sam, DeFi Advisor, any final questions before we part?
No, Martin, thank you for coming on today. Really appreciated it.
Thank you for having me. And
yeah, man, great for coming.
If people need to find you, where should they do so?
Yeah, this is just over Telegram, basically. So, or on Twitter, you can find me too, but I have the same username, so I'm easy to find. I don't think you can find me. So,
all right.
Congratulations
Wonderful.
for the working at Kerf. It was really fun to talk.
Yes.
Today, hearing your perspective about some of the stuff to do, some of the many stuff you guys are doing.
Yeah, it's more to come. It's more to come, because I didn't say that, but somehow, if you're an established protocol, then it's a question much more, where should you innovate, how much resources you have to innovate, because there's enough room to innovate. That's not the bottleneck. The bottleneck is get it done, and choose the right path, maybe. But it's not about, we don't know what we should do, we have Kerf out and we do nothing else. That's not the thing. It's all the way around. That there are many ideas how we can improve things, and we constantly work on this, basically. So, yeah.
Well, I do think that actually Kerf, one thing that I think the ecosystem is very good at is attracting talent throughout the time. And I do think that I see more and more like very capable builders within the ecosystem. And I do think that the Kerf ecosystem to me looks in an extremely good direction, mostly because of this, mostly because of the human talent that I see interested in it and willing to put so much time and effort into it, both at the building level itself, at the relationship level, at the coordination level, at the social aspects. This is just amazing to even witness and talk about, honestly.
Yeah. Cool. So I think
Martin, I feel like you're about to lose light.
Yeah, exactly. You want to fade into the blackness.
I cover myself.
Into the dark with
I
Kerf.
cover myself with the sheet that I don't have to look at me. So I didn't feel that I'm going to that dark. Yeah. Okay.
Look how committed Kerf builders are. They will work in the dark, on the computer. They will do whatever it takes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Have a nice day.
Thank everybody.
Or evening.
Yeah.
Whatever. So,
Thank you, Squiddos, for tuning in. Hope you all can touch grass. We'll see you all on Monday.
Yeah.